Hello, everyone. This is another episode of Fox Cooking Show, and we are taking some liberties with some recipe. One from All Recipes, which most of my recipes are from All Recipes. They are a user created and also sponsored recipe website and app that you can take and use. So if you see anything particularly noticeable, it's because I've gotten mostly from them and sometimes from other websites. And I do try to put a little bit of a spin on it. But what was funny is because I sat down and watched one of the many Netflix shows, and this one had a famous um, Korean American restaurateur and John Favreau, and I'm not going to say who, but I'm going to tell you that they use spare rib stew and put chicken in it. And so I thought, okay, the steps that they're doing is way too advanced. I don't have the equipment for it, but is there a way I can do that with? And so I looked up all recipes, and I found out that you can use. There's this recipe at All Recipes that's super fast. It takes about a couple of hours, just like anything else, but it's a stew, so that makes sense. So the thing I did notice is that their recipe once again required a whole lot of steps that you basically all you need to do is one pot. So I'm using one big pot because I don't have a crock pot, but you can use a crock pot with this. And so for the first steps, what we did was we put in brown sugar, garlic. Now it says for rice wine, but we use the already Marion for our stuff. Then we use soy sauce. It doesn't matter what kind of soy sauce. And this is 6 pounds of chicken. So you always have to remember to double times the amount of chicken, the amount of meat. The recipe that I'm going to put down here and how the steps are has for 2 pounds. So every 2 pounds you have to double it in the amounts. It does also say for corn syrup, but we didn't put in corn syrup because I just literally couldn't find it. So we put in bread molasses, which is just as good. It is just a great one. Um, we have so the thing about it is it requires everything to boil up. Now we haven't put in the onions, which is the last step before we put in the chicken. So we first of all, anyway, before we do anything, um, we have to melt in the brown sugar, and I did that. It's been boiling a little bit for a certain amount of time. I've already put in the garlic, as you can see. I didn't. One thing we didn't get is we didn't get the green onions. One thing because as you can see, it's periodic when I upload videos, and sometimes it's all at once, and sometimes it's little. So I didn't want to buy something that I wasn't really going to use. And since it is something to put at the very end, if you are like, I can't find that, don't worry about that. It's nice for certain dishes, for Taiwanese dishes and stuff like that, and certain Chinese dishes. But I would not say for this. This is something that you have to have. Since it is a stew, you're probably going to sprinkle in, once you taste it, anything that you particularly like. So if you want to go exactly and you have the time and the money, then get green onions. But don't end the world because you don't have green onions or you simply just can't find it. It's not a priority. And you can also switch out the dates. Chestnuts, it's usually part of the things that you'll find in the Asian section. Nowadays they have it, it'll be the ethnic section, the Mexican section also, because our store just completely took away the Asian section necessarily as a section and put it in as the spices and all that stuff. So that makes sense. It goes by the neighborhood. You might have to go outside your neighborhood to get some of these things. So be advised. You will probably find a lot of these things at your major retailers like Target, Pete's Market, Aldi's. Well, some of this from Aldi's. Not all of this, but some parts of this. We're going to put in the onions, and we're going to have And then we're going to put in the whole chicken. And you might be asking yourself, why put in a whole chicken? The reason why is because it's a stew. And just like chicken soup, stews will be going on for hours and hours. So it doesn't make any sense to rip it apart and take away some of the meat that will fall off if it's going to be there just like a chicken soup. You will have to, in between, and which I'll show you after we cooked it for probably about 2 hours, is that the meat will start to fall off. You can cut it off very easily after that. You will have to cool it down, and you'll get more meat inside, cut up the way how you like it, faster and easier than just going through and cutting it up, because you're taking off so many things, so many tastes and seasonings come into chicken necks and organs and stuff like that, and all that is still in there while it's cooking. Because really the thing about it is you want the liquid that will go into, will put in your onions, your dates, your chestnuts. All these things need to have all the ingredients soaked up in already, so then you can have this great cornucopia of taste when you start eating. So don't worry if it's not, worry about that. Worry about making sure you got all the ingredients and you got it all cut up. My daughter is slowly cutting up the onions as we speak. And so we're going to pause it and then we're going to see it all done.